The most difficult thing for us diasporans in East America is raising children.
Okay.
You know that speaking English or taking the culture here is very easy. They will take it because that's the environment they are in.
Exactly.
So the job you have to is to make sure that you teach them our own culture and our own language. If not, they will
be lost.
You will be lost too. Because
I have been compelled to sing to this rhythm after seeing all was one in Africa, 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 Africa.
The program is African Voices Abroad with Lamre Omatosho. This is CBI Community Network. I want to welcome you to this special edition of the program. My guest on African Voices Abroad in this episode is a prominent Nigerian in diaspora, a reputable urban planning and development professional, community leader, and an advocate of African cultural heritage. Please welcome Chief Emmanuel Nzowu. Chief, you are welcome on the program.
thank you very much, Larry.
Chief Nzowu is the immediate past president of Nigerians in Diaspora Organization, NIDO, and it's my pleasure to have you. Before we go into your position as immediate past president of NIDO, let's talk about your journey in the diaspora. So how did it all start?
Well, my journey in the diaspora is, I had my first degree in Nigeria, University of Nigeria in Soka. And I worked for the federal government for about 4 years. And then they sent me over to do a master's degree here in the US. It was supposed to be a master's degree program, which then, when the Nigerian government was very good, they would sponsor you, and they call it in-service training. They will be paying your salary at the same time they were paying your school fees. So I was able to, within the 2 years they gave me, I was able to do a master's degree at the University of Arkansas in Fayetteville, Arkansas, and I did an MBA degree in University of Oklahoma, Edmond, Oklahoma. They now call it University of Central Oklahoma.
The good old days.
Yes, so that's how my journey started.
Okay.
Because I was still in the service, at the end of my graduation, I had to go back.
To Nigeria?
Of course, because it was an in-service training.
Okay.
So I have to go back to the government again because I was still working for the federal government of Nigeria. And then, we were in Lagos. And then after they moved the capital from Lagos to Abuja,
yes.
then I moved with them. And then I had an opportunity to come and do a PhD program at the University of Illinois,
okay.
Urbana-Champaign.
Okay, Urbana-Champaign, okay.
That's how my second missionary journey to the US came.
Wow.
So when I came for that program, after that program, they gave you like 3 months. This time around, they didn't pay anything for me. They just call it study leave.
Study leave.
So you will be allowed to come back into the service, but then you will have to sponsor yourself. So at the end of the 3 years, I wanted them to extend, that 3 years because I couldn't finish within that 3 years.
Wow.
So, and they said they couldn't extend it. So that's how I cut off with the service. And I'll send them something back. I was okay. They said if I don't come back, they're going to fire me.
Okay.
So I fired them before they fired me.
That's a good one.
So I told them that, okay, I will.
Because I keep your word.
No, I've already put in 22 years.
Oh, wow. In service.
Yes. So I have to retire.
Wow.
So
you actually converted it to retirement.
It's a retirement.
Oh.
That's because I now have to write them and say that I want to retire effective. I gave them the date I want to retire.
Oh, okay.
So that's how I ended and then started my journey here, because from then I now got an appointment to work with the Indiana Department of Transportation.
Okay.
So from that, I transitioned to working for the government of the state of Indiana, which I have done
For 30 years plus now.
Oh, wow. Oh, wow. That's great. So I was actually going to ask, how long has it been altogether since you came to the United States?
If I start counting from I was here to do my master's degree. I did my master's degree in 1980. So if you want to start counting, then you start counting from 1980. It will be about 40-something years.
Wow.
I believe.
Okay, so now let's see how things were in those days when you had to be sponsored abroad, and then government will invest in you, and then they want you to come back home and then use the knowledge, the skills that you have gained abroad to improve things back home. How do you compare the Nigeria of then and that of now?
Things have really changed. First of all, before even they sponsor you for that kind of in-service, you have to be doing a good job. They know that, hey, you are committed to your job,
okay,
you are doing a good job, because it's not everybody that they send. So on that basis, they will now send you, and maybe you've already specialized in
a particular area. Yes. So you actually have to merit it.
Yes. So you merit it, and then they send you. So, and then they pay your school fees, they pay you per diem, and then they still pay your salary. So things were really good then, and the service was good then.
Okay, so I want to deviate a little bit here. So now our government has been investing in people in terms of education and all that, because in those days, Nigerians who go to school, they will give them bursary, like they are paying them salaries, so to put it, and then they will graduate. But we are not really seeing that much of gain of government investment on people. Do you think that Nigeria is utilizing the funds, the investment in human resources?
Well, I think those days, now is a different case. The investment was worth it. Because people will go, they will sponsor you, come back and specialize in a particular area, and then you come back and you focus in that area and maybe lead a project or execute a project. And you know, those times there were all kinds of World Bank projects, FAO projects that is being given to federal government that the federal government execute. And most of the time, such projects are where people are sponsored to go and specialize in areas that will enable them to do those projects. Like I work with Federal Ministry of Agriculture. Some people have to go and open like a cattle project, a dairy project, a goat farm project, all those specialized that they can go to different parts of Nigeria. In fact, when there was time we had a goat farm in Katsina, and somebody who studied and had that specialized area was managing it. And then there was a dairy project around Jos area. So those times, you know, those days, it was the government was actually benefiting or actually reaping from the investment they did on government employees, the civil servants then. But unfortunately, over time, things changed. First of all, it wasn't by merit anymore. It was by people sending,
who you know,
the Nigerian syndrome, because the civil service also changed. Because I remember when I was in the civil service back home, everything is on merit. There's going to be a promotion interview. Even though they rank people by seniority, that is by when you join the service.
That's right.
So even by that seniority of when you join the service, there's going to be, it means that you guys will be promoted at the same time. But most of the times you don't have enough vacancies to be promoted. If they have enough vacancies, they will still do the promotion interview, but it means that everybody will go.
That's right.
But then when they have the limited vacancy, particularly the higher up you go in the system, then they have to be an interview, a promotion interview. And then with that, they will now select who will be promoted. Based on your performance.
So leadership at that time was based on merit. You have to be able to perform.
Merit. But then after some time, the system changed. When I don't want to start mentioning names, but when people who are not even qualified studied in one institution, maybe where they are not well qualified, and they will come and put them in the service just like that. Sometimes they will move them to their state service, promote them rapidly because they don't have enough people in the state service. Promote them up to like a chief, which is the highest you can go in the state. And then will laterally bring them to the federal level and give them a director.
Director.
And then you find out when you look at the system, you've been in the service for quite a while, graduated way back like 10 years before them. And this guy just came, graduated like about 5 years ago, and is like a director. I'm bossing you.
I think you are bringing a new perspective to some of the problems that we are facing now. Because when people talk about the problems that Nigeria is having, they talk about the colonial masters, the white folks who have come to dominate us, and all that. But with what we are saying now, you are trying to shed light on how things have deteriorated, how things have degraded from having quality people in service who are able to lead projects, and to just having anybody because they want to represent a particular zone or region, because they don't have qualified people, and then they have to just find a way of bringing them to position where they cannot perform.
That's the problem. That's how the civil service and maybe the Nigerian government and Nigeria in general started deteriorating. Because now people are put in place not because they can do it, or they got it by merit, but because they know somebody somewhere. So they now come into the system or to the job and they cannot do it.
So Godfatherism, as people will say it, is not only in politics, it's even in civil service.
You see, everywhere in Nigeria, the civil service is in everywhere. When he came in, he affected everything, polluted everything, all aspects of the Nigerian system.
Wow. But let's just go over to your experiences when you first came in here, your initial experiences, the barriers, the obstacles, the challenges, the opportunities, and even prospects, as an immigrant. How did that play? I mean, what are the experiences, initial experiences?
Well, initial experience, like when I came over here to do my master's degree program, that when you started, Nigeria, like Nsukka particularly at that time, the system they had then is like a yearly system. Everybody starts, we have like a class system where you enter into a course. All of you will start at the same year. Normally it's a 4-year program or 5-year, and all of you will graduate the same year. So exams are taken like every semester. But, at the end of the day, it's gonna be the final year exam that will decide whether you'll be promoted to the next class or not. So all those things, all the ones you took during the semester will be cumulative. They don't run it the way they run it here. I think some Nigerian universities have started running the same system that Americans run, where you accumulate courses. You know how many credits you want to get. You accumulate them. Once you get to that point, you graduate.
That's right.
But then it's like a class thing. So when I came over to do my master's degree, normally they start you with like projects, who will be in projects and that kind of thing. And, they see this black guy from Nigeria with an accent.
You are not black, though.
Well, compared with the whites. and then when they were sharing people on how they would do projects, so all the white folks go to one side, or group by themselves, and every other, so there was like 2 of us in that graduate class, myself and one guy from Cameroon. So we were left alone.
Wow.
So we formed our own group.
Caucus.
Yes, even though it was supposed to be more than 2 people. But then when they started taking the test, the exams, and they started seeing things.
They see the difference.
We started writing essay.
Oh, wow.
In Nigeria, even at WAEC, you write essays.
Essays, yes.
I remember when we read Animal Farm in Nigeria, and they said power corrupts. Absolute power corrupts.
Absolutely.
Discuss.
Wow.
That is the whole Animal Farm.
Yeah.
So you wrote pages and pages and pages. So we developed this essay writing skill from secondary school in Nigeria.
That's right.
Up to the university level, the same thing, even more. But here, in their own undergraduate, there will be a multiple choice.
Yes.
And then by the time they get to the graduate school, they start giving you small
notes to write.
Small essays. So, but because of the essay background, when I come, I will just take that small. I tell it, I take more paper, and I will write the more papers. So the professors will read this and I'll be wondering what's going on here. So myself and that guy from Cameroon, things started changing. Scores in tests, scores in everything, and then these white folks start coming back to join our group. So initially it was like they don't know anything. And then eventually, as we progress in the class, they knew that we even know more than.
Oh yes.
More than
I mean,
so that was how things change. As far as how they see us as foreigners and black people.
So now, so apart from that, what are some of the barriers? Some of the other barriers like acculturation, integration, adaptation into the system and all that. How did that go?
Well, initially, as students, or when we were students, it wasn't. I mean, you came here to study, so more or less they will discriminate. We know that there is discrimination in this country. So they will discriminate and do things, but it doesn't keep you from making your grades. It doesn't keep you from doing what you're supposed to do. So somehow you integrated, during my graduate days, it was easy for me to integrate to the system already, despite all the. So, but coming to the work with the government, it's a different ballgame. You will see worse. You will just see it. What's going on? People that you're more qualified with, people that you have more experience and more expertise, and they be promoting them.
That's right.
And they don't keep you unless they know they're doing something good for them. So they were not. It's not like a handout they're giving to you. You actually put the job in. If they don't get anything out of it, they will fire you. They will not let you stay.
That's right. I think my viewers are learning here. So we are not just in the diaspora. We are functional. We are productive. We are contributors to the economy, to the development of wherever we are. Right.
In fact, there was a program they did. I don't know if you watched it, about professionals in the U.S.
Professionals in the U.S.
Diaspora professionals in the U.S. And you find out that Nigerians they are all over the place.
Yes.
The medical doctors, the engineers, almost professionals, you will see more percentage of Nigerians there than any other diaspora. And if you have been watching some of the schools, Harvard, Columbia, and all those universities that people are graduating from, you will see that up to sometimes 70% of the graduating class is from Nigeria. So we have a lot of attributes. That's so that when they want to get you or employ you, they know that you have some stuff. They don't employ you just because they want to help you. Yes.
Well, I want to thank you so much for what you have done, not only in Nigeria, but even how you have represented Nigeria abroad. That's quite commendable. I want to move on to another question I have here for you. And this has to do with you as an individual who has transitioned from the youth that, I would just say, from the youth that you used to be, coming to the American system, vibrant, radiant, to become a father. So how is raising children in a socio-cultural system that feels foreign to your original background? What are the challenges?
Well, the most difficult thing for us diasporans in East America is raising children.
Okay.
For two reasons. Like, I'm a chief, right?
Yes.
So even though all my kids were born here, but I want to make them know that they have a country they come from. In fact, I told all of them that you are Nigerian first.
That's right.
You can be born in the U.S., but you are Nigerian first.
Yeah, because you have the blood of Nigerian blood flowing in you.
So then my attitude is trying to I want them to capture some of our culture as much as possible.
Yeah.
And at the same time, capture whatever they capture of the culture of this
balance
place.
It all.
So balancing it was a little bit difficult because they spend most of their time in school.
That's right.
So most of the time the school really affects what they do. So it becomes a very heavy responsibility on the Nigerian parents or diasporan parents to be able to, for some, if you don't really put your time in, you won't be able to do the job. Because some Nigerian parents or diasporan parents are busy doing the job. Some are doing 3 jobs, some are doing 2 jobs, and that kind of, some doing multiple hours. But then you now know that you have kids that you need to raise. And those kids spend most of their time in school. So they capture most of the information that they gave them in school. So you now have the uphill task of trying to make sure that both your culture and making them understand things based on your culture is what you're supposed to do. If you fail to do it, you have a big problem.
That's right. So do they speak your language?
Yeah, some.
They do? Oh, that's good.
Yeah. So that's a big job you have to.
That's right.
I think the Yorubas are very good in doing that. Because you see them, well, the best group of people that do it are the Hispanics. You can see these little kids or young adults, Hispanics, and they will be speaking to their parents in their language fluently. And before you know it, they will switch, like if they want, like in a shop to buy something, they will switch to English, and they will see them with real
English accent
and
all that.
Yeah. So that's the job we have to do. Make sure they speak our language, our culture, and at the same time, keep the culture that they're already learning from here.
In fact, this is one of the things that I've been trying to promote from my end. Like, as you know, I am just wondering why Africans tend to tilt too much to where we are than allowing our kids to learn more about where they come from. It's just unfortunate.
It's very unfortunate. You know that speaking English or taking the culture here is very easy. They will take it because that's the environment they are in.
Exactly.
So the job you have to is to make sure that you teach them our own culture and our own language. If not, they will
be lost.
You will be lost too. Because when your kids are lost, you are lost.
Okay. I want to ask this question now. Would you have wished to raise your kids in Nigeria rather than America?
Well, I give you one experience. My first son, when he got about, I don't know which grade. I don't know how they do this, their grades here. He started doing funny things. I came back from work one day and saw him. Somebody was doing cornrow on his head. That is when, this cornrow thing started. Now everybody is doing whatever they like.
That's right.
But that time, it was something like, so I told him, hey, from where we come from is only women that do this kind of thing. But again, from then on, things start happening. I had to take him home.
You did?
Send him home and let him spend quite some time at home.
Wow.
Unfortunately, my town is on nature. It's not like a real rural village.
Yeah.
But by the time he came back, he got back to his senses.
That's right.
But I got one of my friends that their town is a village. Okay? In fact, it's a Yoruba guy.
Okay.
The kids started misbehaving.
Okay.
He sent them back home and told the uncle, don't leave them in Lagos.
Okay. Go take them to the rural area.
And they went there and stayed for 3 years.
And by the time they come
back, they will be they do everything. They greet the way they speak Yoruba perfectly. And everything changed.
Okay, so let me ask you this question, Chief. So with the situation in Nigeria now, I'm not talking about then.
Yeah.
But now, the situation in Nigeria, especially with the security, the state of electricity supply, transportation, and all those, the hardship that people are experiencing in Nigeria, would you advise that, will you do that again? Will you repeat?
Well, it depends on the environment where you are taking them to. In fact, things have now so changed in Nigeria that they are copying, they are mirroring even things that are happening in the US faster than anything else.
Wow.
They may even be copying it faster than some of our kids here whom you raised up properly. That sending them home, depending on the environment, might not be the best.
The best.
Yeah, but if it's still a village environment where you have some control, it might still be a good thing. But you can send them there and they go there and they'll be worse off than what, because they'll be staying with your uncle or your or auntie who might not, but then, they'll be doing things that they may not know. So you have to be careful now before you do anything like that.
Yeah. And plus, the world has become so small. They will still have access to their social media. So they are even in America while they are staying in
social
Nigeria.
media.
So, anyway, so in spite of all what I call personal obligations and family responsibilities and socio-cultural demands that we face abroad, Chief, you still find time for community leadership, community mentorship and support for the Nigerian subgroup in the United States with all this. So what's your motivation? I mean, why are you passionate or interested in this?
Well, you know that we're Nigerians first and foremost. And then I find out that a lot of our people, when they come over here, they have some of them that have been here much longer.
That's right.
Were able to jump through the hoops, through the obstacles. And then you see the people who are coming after us or who are coming recently, they now have all kinds of issues and all kinds of things. So I mean, I derive satisfaction by helping people.
Helping people, okay.
Like there was one guy, a Nigerian guy. Now he came and he went to university looking for a job. He couldn't get a job. So somebody referred him to me.
Okay.
So I helped him build up his resume, did everything, took his resume, went and submitted it to the state. Eventually, they called him for an interview.
Wow.
I later on intervened, and he got the job.
Sure.
And I forgot all about it. I didn't remember. So one day, I was like coming in the state building. We were just walking, and somebody was greeting me. I said, Chief, you forgot, you don't remember me again? I said, I meet so many people. He said, Chief, if not for you, I wouldn't be working in the state. You remember you helped me, and then he refreshed my memory that I remember. So some of you help people and then you move on, but they will keep remembering you because of what you did. Some don't, but those people remember. So those things, and then maybe that way they will be telling people, this, see this chief, or he was the person who. So your name and your legacy,
that's right,
will be spreading even when you don't know that it's due.
I know.
So helping people in so many various ways is what I enjoy doing.
Well, I do know. I just want to deviate from that. I'll come back to it. I remember when I first came here, and I came in contact with you. I don't know how. And I could see that you didn't even see me as a different person. You just saw me as a Nigerian who at that time needed some support, some help. And you introduced me to your community, and that was it. So obviously I can see that trait in you. I mean, I can also confirm that you are a people's person. Thank you for all you do, sir.
You're welcome.
Yeah. Now, let me ask this question. In Nigeria today, with what we read on the social media, the news that we hear, there's this division between sub-regions in Nigeria, the Igbos versus the Yorubas, and the Yorubas versus the Hausas. I'm not talking about the political class. Those ones, they are different because even when they seem fighting, they are not really fighting. They
will go up behind the scene.
That's right.
And be enjoying themselves.
But the Nigerian citizens themselves, things are tending to be unstable. The things that have united us before, I think they are collapsing. They are falling apart. So what is your take as an elder statesman in the diaspora?
Well, I think there was a misconception in your statement because it is the political class that caused that division that we're having in the populace. Because their own idea is when they put that divide in the populace for their own benefit, then they will still, at the political class, be friends with themselves, while they have already put that poison on the populace. If you remember not too long ago, even in Lagos, when they were doing the elections before Tinubu came in, you remember the guy for Lagos
Yes.
that's supposed to run for governor
Yes.
under LP, and they said the mother is Igbo.
Mm.
And that is why they keep telling them not to vote for him, even though some people are saying that he won more votes and that kind of thing. But they say the mother is. But if you trace the history of Nigeria, there have been intermarriages.
That's right.
Way back. I have cousins. Their name, they only have Yoruba name. One is Toyin, one is Fumilayo. They were born in Ibadan because their father works with the PNT, and they lived in, they keep changing, but he stayed mostly Lagos and Ibadan. And they speak Yoruba fluently and that kind of thing. But they don't have an Igbo name.
Wow.
They only have Yoruba name. So these things, there has been there. And my dad was a meteorologist. He worked as a forecaster at the airport in Kano. He spent most of his time in Kano. Yeah. And we'll go there on holidays. There's no discrimination, there's nothing. People understand themselves and everything. But then the political class of late, after all, Zeke started his political career in Lagos or Ibadan?
Yes, in the west side.
Yeah, that's where he started. He won his first election in the west.
Yeah.
Okay, so that time there were no barriers. There was nothing. And I remember in Enugu, way back then, Hausa man was the mayor of Enugu when they used to have mayor. And a Hausa man was the mayor of Enugu.
Wow.
So then there were no divisions. But the later day politicians, the political class, are the people now who now created this pollution on the populace, and they just took it. Because they bring some of these miscreants and all these people to do things and scatter and cause confusion, and then they start killing people.
Wow.
And then people start having that, and then they will go back to their political class and they'll still be friends. So it's an unfortunate incident, but I'm hoping that we'll overcome it.
Okay. Yeah, thank you. So how has being the president of NIDO, Nigerians in Diaspora Organization, impacted your connectivity with the Nigerian community in the state of Indiana or the US in general?
Well, being the president of NIDO of Indiana, I was the president of Indiana for 4 years.
That's right.
It was just January of 2025 that I handed over to Chief Ashafa, who was my vice president all those things. And it has been an opportunity or a platform that really gave me the opportunity to really serve Nigerians, to really help Nigerians, to serve them. And this included like bringing the Nigerian consulate, because Indiana officially is under the New York consulate for things like passport things and that kind of thing. We brought them over here to do passport for Nigerians, and they gave me an opportunity for more than about 12 times. We had to do NIN, BVN for the Nigerian community. There are people who don't have NIN. And at a point, without NIN, you can't do anything. Even now, without NIN, you can't do passport.
That's right.
And BVN, without it, you can open a bank account in Nigeria. And, so we have had so many opportunities to help Nigerians to have those facilities. In fact, it gave me an opportunity to visit more than 20 Nigerian churches. There's a lot of Nigerian churches here, different denominations. In my position as the president of NIDO, I was able to visit all those Nigerian churches to tell them what we're doing in NIDO, to make sure that we can see what they're doing in the church, be able to coordinate and cooperate with them in any community activities they are doing, get NIDO involved, for them to know more about NIDO. So it gave me a lot of opportunities to get to network with other Nigerian organizations, mostly churches and stuff like that, and then to bring services to them too.
Well, thank you for all you do in the community. What is your take? What is your take on the current political climate in Nigeria? What's your take?
It's not good because of all the poisoning and everything that's going on. Now, I don't know if you have been watching what is going on. People defecting. You campaign for and got elected as a governor or as a senator in a certain political party. and now you switch over to another party, either because they're in power or something like that.
Don't you think that is because because somebody, I was discussing with somebody and he said, "Oh, what do you expect? When you are in the opposition, you don't have benefit of having your programs well executed because you may be short funded and all that and all that." Don't you think that they are just doing that to?
It's because the current administration in Nigeria, or maybe some past administrations, when you keep like a good opposition is good for a democratic process.
Yes.
That way there is check and balances. People who will tell you, hey, you are not doing this right, or that. Yes. So that way you can change. If everybody is in the same party, then that party will just do whatever they like.
That's right.
So now, currently, what they do now is to try to, like you're saying, shortchange. They don't fund, because we are in the opposition. If everybody comes to the ruling party, there's no opposition. The ruling party will do whatever they like. And that's almost what is happening in Nigeria right now. So it doesn't all go well for Nigeria.
So it's not good. I mean, okay, what's your relationship with the people at home in your capacity as not only as NIDO president, but as an NIDO listed person in the community?
Well, what we've been trying to do, one as the NIDO president, in collaboration with, we have a national NIDO in the diaspora that's on the national level, and we have been trying to at least impact the government of Nigeria on so many fronts. One, like we've been pursuing issues of getting, we don't have embassies in California, which is a big state. We don't have any in Chicago.
That's right.
So we've been campaigning and pushing on that. And then also what we've been trying to make them for the Nigerians in diaspora to have a voice in Nigeria. Like to have ability to vote.
Voting rights.
Yeah, voting right. Because when they now send money, I don't know the figure, but a whole bunch of the Nigerian in diaspora send a lot of money in billions dollars to the system. So the money that Nigerians in diaspora or that is sent back home really is a very good proportion of the economy of Nigeria.
Yes. Right.
So, but you get their money, you get all those things, you get their input, but then you won't allow them to even have the basic rights of voting, being able to vote for who will be the hold an public office in Nigeria.
But Chief, don't you think that Nigeria, the system in Nigeria, I don't think is conducive enough to allow international voting. And the reason why I think like that is because even at home, our electoral system is all messed up.
Well,
so how are we going to get organized? Well, we were all scattered and we are all chasing dollars and euro. And
it's very simple. Many African countries in the diaspora vote. Even Cameroon, even those smaller countries in Nigeria, Ghana, they vote in the diaspora. So we can vote. The problem is electronic voting is not what they're doing. But if they want to rig it, then that's when this issue now you're talking about will come in. So it's not that it's not doable. It's doable, but again, the issue is, will the political class in Nigeria allow it to work?
That's right.
Like when they were calling the results, they have a server in the cloud where all the reports, all the voting goes to. Not should go, it goes to it. So when they want to read it, they can download it from that server and
manipulate it.
But no, and read it. Because everybody can have access.
To read.
The different parties will have access to it. Yeah. But then the thing is, when they say the server is down, now they have to do a manual collation. That's when the rigging comes in.
That's right.
Because if you go for the server will bring down what is
uploaded there.
Yeah. But when you're now doing a manual
you can manipulate it.
You start manipulating it. That's the problem.
Well, thank you so much. It's been, I will let you go in a short while. I have only a few more questions to ask. It's been very interesting anyway, discussing with you. In recent years, things have changed, like you said. There have been too many Africans, Nigerians in particular, fleeing away overseas. Do you see this as an advantage or disadvantage to the African development or Nigerian development?
It's a big disadvantage to the development of Nigeria or Africa, because the people who are fleeing, they're not fleeing, particularly the ones that are very educated. They are going for where the greener pastures. They are going for, like medical doctors, nurses, engineers. They'll be paid more money and that kind of thing. But I remember, if I go way back to when I did my graduate studies, most Nigerians, the day they will end, that is, they will write their final paper. They already bought their ticket to go back home.
That's right.
So as far as once they put their pen down, they're going back to Nigeria. I did like that to myself when I finished my graduate work and everything, even though I had a job to go to. But many Nigerians were doing the same thing. However, when things begin to go bad in Nigeria, when the political system, when the administration messed things up, even those established professionals in Nigeria are now leaving Nigeria to come over here or to go to Europe or other countries. So those who were already established, I know somebody a medical doctor who had a very good practice. Wow. Sold up his practice, sold up everything, and packed over to the US. So it's a big disadvantage that your brains, some of them that we said that the Nigerian government sponsored, that they came back and established. Wow. Now all of them, everybody's fleeing and going overseas, going to the US or Europe. So it's a big advantage to the country.
Right. How would you advise Nigerians in the diaspora?
I would advise Nigerians in the diaspora to represent Nigeria in a good light. I know a good percentage of us still have a professional job, do professional jobs, do networking, make sure that we get out of each problems in the country. But now there's a growing percentage of Nigerians that are committing crimes, are doing things that they are not supposed to do, and then those are the ones that they're highlighting as Nigerians, even though some of them might have become American citizens or something. Right. But once you commit a crime, they look as a Nigerian. So those are the image that you're getting about Nigerians are criminals. But a good percentage of Nigerians in diaspora are not criminals.
That's right.
But those percentage is growing, the ones that are committing the crimes and doing things they're not supposed to do. So my advice will be for Nigerians to make sure that you don't get yourself involved in those kind of activities that will be criminal or that will put you in a bad light. And for parents to make sure that they raise their kids in a way that they will have this culture, because our culture helps us too. That's right. In how we project ourselves. So that would be my advice.
And finally, a lot of Nigerians are struggling to check out of Nigeria, travel out.
Yes.
With what you see, with your experience, how would you advise them?
Well, my advice would be, if you want to check out, like you said, do it in a proper manner. Obtain visas or obtain legal papers and things that will enable you to go into whichever country you want to go. For those of them that you hear, if you heard stories of those who are going by land via Libya, if they tell you the kind of suffering those people, even particularly the women, undergo, you won't even advise anybody that is your own relative to go that route.
Wow.
But if you have your legal papers, you have your everything, and you come over and then you establish yourself, that will be the way to go.
Okay.
because people are fleeing because or leaving Nigeria because things are not that good. But I'm sure that if the Nigerian economy or Nigerian system change, there'll be some people. In fact, few people are still going back to establish. I know somebody.
Will you go back?
Me? I'll go back to do my traditional stuff. To do my traditional stuff.
Okay.
And you know, some of us have reached a stage where you are not really staying in one place. You will go over there, stay for a while, come over here, stay for, because there are some differences. At least your medical and other things you need to be doing over here.
That's right.
That they don't have over there.
Yeah.
But there are some traditional things or some family things that you have over there that you need to make sure that you so it will be like doing those kind of things.
Thank you
It's
so
not like
very
you're
much.
permanently in one place.
Well, that's right.
Because you can't forget your country.
That's right.
Whatever
That's
you
right.
do, however you go, Nigeria is still our country.
That's correct. That's correct. That's correct. Well, it's been a pleasure hosting the immediate past president of Nigerians in Diaspora Organization in the state of Indiana, Chief Emmanuel Nzowu. It's been a pleasure having you in my studio. Thank you so much for coming.
Larry, thank you for having me. And I want to really encourage you and appreciate you for all you do for the Nigerian community. Keep doing it. We see what you're doing and we're going to support you as much as we can to make sure that you keep doing what you're doing.
Thank you so very much. So my viewers, thank you for being my host on this program today. It's been a pleasure talking to a wonderful community leader in the diaspora community, Chief Emmanuel Nzowu. Until I bring you yet another, prominent member of our community in the diaspora, I remain Lanre Omotosho. This is CBI Community Network. Please stay tuned.